Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Caroline Corralejo. I was an ICU nurse for 25 years, and these last 8 years I've specialized in cardiac rehab. Nurses are said to be the most trusted professional because with honesty, compassion, and integrity, we translate difficult and confusing medical situations into bite-sized information that patients can hear and understand. My goal on this channel, Cardiac Rehab Nurse, is to provide education on cardiovascular disease, the #1 cause of death globally. What is cardiovascular disease? What are its risk factors? What's healthy lifestyle, prevention, cardiac rehab, and more? Let me start by telling you a little story about what we call dashboard signs. I was in a pickleball class this summer and met a woman who said that 1 year ago on that day, her husband had dropped dead of a sudden death heart attack. It was really tragic. She said he looked like the picture of health, and no one would have suspected. He was 64 years old. And then she started to say, but he did complain about a few different things. The woman standing next to her had related that her father had also died in his 50s of a sudden death heart attack. What are dashboard signs? Well, sometimes our body's check engine light is on and we're either not paying attention to it or not knowing that it's indicating something much more serious. When we see a check engine light in our car, sometimes we do ignore it, right? We think it's just the sensor, we don't have time to deal with it, we wait a little bit longer. If you're experiencing just an extra sense of fatigue or even a type of chest pain, now sometimes it is classic where you feel like a pressure, an elephant sitting on your chest. It can radiate into one or both arms. It can feel like numbness or tingling, or even just your arms feel very heavy. Sometimes it's associated with shortness of breath, nausea, indigestion, heartburn. If you have a coronary blockage on the right side of your heart, that feeds the muscle that sits right on top of the stomach, and that sometimes presents as heartburn. For women, it can be even more difficult to discern. Sometimes women feel a pain in their back or just extra fatigue. If your body's check engine light is on, if you're noticing signs that something doesn't feel right, either at rest or with exercise, I really encourage you to talk to your primary care doctor or see a cardiologist. There are simple tests that can be done that can rule out a cardiac origin. Of course, I want to emphasize that if you experience any of these symptoms, that crushing chest pressure, the pain that radiates down the arms, into the neck, into the jaw, that does not resolve within 5 minutes of rest, call 911. It is so important not to try to drive yourself into the hospital, not have someone else drive you. What the emergency medical system can do is start the process right away with an EKG that gets transmitted into the hospital. If there is a need to be urgently taken into the cath lab, that team is already being gathered and prepared for your arrival. Don't waste precious minutes by trying to take care of it yourself. It is so important.